Welcome. TWW, the War Within, the Warrior Wishlist. This has been an idea I've had for a while, and I think it's worth talking about. And before I want to talk about my ideas for Warrior and things I've heard other people say, uh, this is not about power. I don't want it to be about power. I am not necessarily interested in the numeric gain of these potential changes or what they could bring or what they could give to the class. That is not my prerogative. That is not my interest. What I want are changes to the class that make it, honestly, just make it better, make it more efficient, make it more fun to play, make it less annoying to play, right? That's what I really want from my class. I want it to be more fun, more enjoyable. As bad as it sounds to say, hey man, can Warrior get some of the Ret Paladin treatment? The class has been reworked like 4 to 5 times and is really, really good. They're not like crazy good. They're not like overpowered or anything, but like Ret Paladin is not only good, it's fun to play. Its buttons do good damage. Like I think honestly a lot of the reasons why Warrior players don't necessarily like Ret Paladin or Ret Paladin players is because they feel like a lot of potential good ideas for the class are essentially siphoned off and given to Ret Paladin because of the whole Holy Crusader thing. And one of the reasons why I think that is because Warrior has no thematics. We have almost no themes, right? Like compared to something like Diablo or Path of Exile, Warrior has basically no slams. It's got barely no fire, no, like, Mountain Thane has some lightning, like, we could be doing, like, sonic damage. Like, it's kind of pathetic that Warrior just has no sauce, right? It just doesn't. You are guy with big stick, and hey, man, some people might like that, right? Maybe I'm speaking out my ass. Some people just might want to be guy with big stick. I mean, even I play games like Baldur's Gate 3 or D&D, and I play a guy that is essentially human male fighter, extra attacks, big damn. But that's kind of Warrior, right? But you can add some thematics to it. Your character can have backstories, yada yada. Like I like to play an agi fighter, and I'm an archer guy, and I like that. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and I like it. And maybe that's the case here, but Warrior's just got no sauce, dude. It's got no sauce. It doesn't feel interesting. It's not like, oh yeah, like there's nothing a Warrior can do that makes me feel like it has any kind of specific, like very, very valuable niche or like you don't see a Warrior and does something cool like no flying serpent kick, no battle res, no lust, none of that. It's got no sauce, dude. Like, why doesn't Warrior have lust, for example? Warrior doesn't have lust because Blizzard is afraid of giving a tank lust. That's why Warrior doesn't have lust, because we have Prot. And Prot, which is pretty good right now, if they gave Prot a lust, which I don't think would even like change anything, like why does that matter? Why can't a tank actually have lust? It'd be great if a tank had lust. You know what I really, really wanted? A lot of people have a lot of Augmentation Evoker hate. And Augmentation Evoker, I thought, was definitely a cool idea, but a kind of a mistake. If people wanted an easy class to play, you can go send on the BM Hunter and chill, right? If you wanted a class where you don't have to think much, you press your buttons, you support your friends, I get the idea of it, but I think it was executed very poorly, and I think it was something not a lot of players really wanted. What I wish Augmentation was a black Dragonflight specifically styled male tank, and it would have been the coolest thing ever. Imagine, for example, take the idea of the stone scales from from Dark Souls, right? These immortal scales that protected the dragon. That could be like your cheat death. Blistering scales already on augmentation. Imagine if Og was a evoker tank, was a strength dual wielding tank that mitigated through blistering scales and stone scales and parry. It would, honestly, I think that would have been really, really cool. I think the thematics of it, where you have gust of winds from your wings, you would have some form, like some kind of like, still have like fire breath. They could take the empowered thing to it, where you could, or like, let's say you empowered a wing gust and it made like a fiery tornado area on the ground. I mean, it's kind of like Firestorm for Dev already, so it's kind of breaking that. But it would be like an AoE on the ground that you could put. It would be cool, right? The thematics are there, the possibilities are there, and it would be sick. But I don't think the reason why Evoker didn't get a tank, maybe because they didn't want to, but they probably just didn't want a tank to get Lust. And I don't know why they're so vehemently against that, because it's pretty obvious they're against a tank class having Lust with how they've created and designed and given things. Because Warrior having Lust would be really, really good. And to note the Warrior Lust thing, some people have said, Warrior not having Lust, it wouldn't matter. It would be a huge deal. A massive deal. How many groups do you see looking for Lust in LFG? So many of them. And they're playing characters and compositions you could work with. Rogue, DK, Feral Druid. Like, you didn't necessarily a hunter, because then you both have Lust, but that's fine. Because, hey man, if you have Lust and you're playing with the BM hunter, then the BM hunter gets to use their endurance pet instead of Lust pet, and they have 8% more health. That's great, man. That's still good. I don't know. Warrior should get Lust. What have I already talked about? I've talked about Warrior having no sauce. It needs some more sauce and thematics and something interesting. Like, you think about Monk and you think about the talent Lighter Than Air, where after a roll they can dash mid-air. That shit is so cool. Lighter Than Air is one of the coolest talents I think they've ever made. And then they gave Monk the fucking Slicing Winds ability from Plunderstorm, man. They're like, you know what this... Yeah. Like, I think that stuff's really cool. One of the reasons why I've been so disappointed with Warrior recently is because we technically received our rework, which was just a talent reshuffle, and it kind of sucks. Like, nobody likes Champion Spear. Nobody likes this talent. This thing sucks. Give us back Ancient Aftershock. That'd have been way cooler. Or get rid of Roar and give us Ancient Aftershock. And speaking of Roar, let's take a look at a plus 12 key I did. Let's take a look at a plus 12, right? Not big, not bad, but let's take a look at a 12, right? Thunderous Roar did less damage than Overpower in an overall of a key with very big pulls, right? Very big pulls. And I've invested not only 5 of my capstone talent row for Thunderous Roar. 5 of the 11 talent points you get for this specific row of the tree went to Thunderous Roar. And you have 2 points in Bloodborne and Bloodletting. And the ability just sucks. And not only does the ability suck, they nerfed it further this patch. It used to be 30% increased damage from all of your bleeds, down to 10. So now Thunderous Roar technically got a 10% nerf on top of everything else, on top of it going from an 8 to a 5 target cap too. This talent kind of sucks. There's just nothing else to take that's worth it, right? Our capstones are notoriously very, very mediocre, right? These talent points, all of these together, not even worth it that much. Warlord's Torment used to be really good, but they didn't like the rage economy of it, so they just kind of made a shitty version of what it was, and it's just terrible, right? Blade Master's Torment, while yeah, it gives sweeping strikes, the real thing that's good about Blade Master's Torment is during your avatar window, you essentially reduce the cooldown of cleave to every other global, right? That's what makes this talent good, because in your burst windows, now cleave is guaranteed to be every other global, so you do a lot more cleave damage. but like our capstones are bad. They're bad for arm. They're not very good for arms. Like they're barely gains. Unhinged was a good addition to get rid of Hurricane because Hurricane was unhealthy. Fatality still sucks. Executioner's Precision is actually not that bad. I think it's got a decent amount of play in single target. But then let's look over at our Fury tree, right? And Fury's capstones are also terrible. All of these are terrible and interesting. It's just like, hey, more Avatar, more Wreck. Yay, cool, right? Onslaught has been unusably bad for a long time. Odin's Fury, when they changed this Titan's Torment talent that Avatar didn't cast Odin's Fury, it was a 33% nerf to Odin's Fury because you lost 33% of your Odin's Fury casts through Avatar, right? So, we lost a ton of Odin's Fury damage through that. Then Odin's Fury and Blade Storm got nerfed, 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 and nerfed again. They got nerfed like 3 to 4 times in a row in flat damage. It's so bad in AoE, we don't even take Odin's Fury. That's how bad it is. And not only that, in this capstone row, Odin's Fury is locked behind a crit talent, which is notoriously one of the weaker talent points for Fury. It's okay in AoE, but versatility, mastery, and haste are all way more valuable. So you have to spend 2 of your 11 points just getting to Odin's Fury. And that's really, really bad. It lets you get here, but then you lose haste and increase rage generation, which is just way better. We use Onslaught for PvP, and that's kind of it. Onslaught is terrible. Odin's Fury is terrible. They nerfed our bleeds by so much that even though we have Cold Steel Hot Blood, we don't even play Bloodborne with our AoE talents in Mythic Plus's Fury. And speaking of Fury, oh boy, let's talk about target capping, man. Let's talk about target capping. A lot of people, especially from the recent Podyssey episode, have been very not happy with Mr. Limitus Maximus. Because he played a couple keys as Windwalker and went, oh my god, Windwalker's target capping? Oh, it's so bad. Yeah, bro, welcome. Welcome to the club. Fury, I don't even know how Noxit is still, like, I swear to God, Woxic and Bantress must be just carrying overall for Woxic to play this spec, or for Noxiv to play this spec, not because Noxiv is bad. He's obviously not bad. But because Fury is so target capped, you're actually a hindrance in your keys. In certain packs and you literally do tank damage with this spec because it simply cannot do enough damage to the mobs that you are dealing with that are required for pulls. And then once again, no sauce. Everything here is boring as shit. The only thing saving Fury, or the only thing saving the warrior class as a whole to have some sauce, is honestly Mountain Thane. I think they did a great job with Mountain Thane. The other hero talents are really boring and kind of lame. Like, Demolish is okay, but it's the only reason Demolish is okay is because it's an extra AoE button. The entirety of the Colossus tree is just modifiers on modifiers on modifiers. Like, check this shit out, man. When you're fighting an AoE pack, you get 25% increased damage to cleave, another 20% increased damage to cleave. Cleave also builds stacks of Colossal Might if you had at least 3 targets. Percentage gain, like, I mean, you even have another crit damage modifier here, so you have 2 crit damage modifiers. That's why this crit is so valuable for Colossus. But it's all numeric and it's all boring, and like, it's still, Cleave has all of these modifiers, and it still kind of sucks. Like, and that sucks. It just doesn't feel good. And here, check this out, right? This is a screenshot I have saved. I did a 16 Cinder Brew with Soap and Dazer, and he put up this fun little screenshot, right? I didn't die once this key, and we're getting gapped beyond belief. Beyond belief gapped. Me and is it Days of Night? Days of Might? I don't remember the exact, I think it's Days of Might. But we are getting gapped beyond belief in overall damage. our boss and priority damage is good and equal, but look at this. Look how ridiculous this is. Do you know how much percent of damage a Ret Paladin's overall is? Their hero talent. It's like 25, it's like 30% of their overall damage is their hero talent. Like, his hero talent alone is worth that entire gap. That is crazy, dude. That is insane, you know? And, like, Dazer is obviously a very good player. He's literally a liquid. He's really good. But he's not so good to be so far ahead that this should happen in a key I didn't die once. Like, it is wild how target capped their class is. And it's target capped on arms, it's target capped on fury. Another part that's really annoying about Cleave specifically is that if you're fighting mobs, hey, guess what? If you're like here, or sorry, I need to be up a little further. Like, let's say you're fighting equal to a ton of mobs in like Cinder Remetery, right? You're fighting a ton of mobs, your cleave just doesn't hit. It just doesn't hit. But for some reason, when you untalent out of cleave and you have whirlwind, your whirlwind will hit this target. Why did we have to lose the entirety of our AoE? Like, I have to aim all of my AoEs. Like, even check this out, right? Check, this is Demolish. My Demolish hit this target, but not this target. And this target's closer because it's behind me. Like, one of the things that actually really sucks about Warrior is really lucky we're not playing Dreadnought is the amount of shit we have to aim while everything is happening, right? Like, our cleaves miss all the time. We have to we have to reposition our character against what we're targeting just to hit Demolish on these mobs because it's a frontal burst. Like, man, it is very annoying to play this class. Let's be honest, right? You play a Ret Paladin, you hit the Judgment, you're here, you're looking away from every single mob, and they're all being hit by Divine Storm. It's a small thing, but just the fact that you can actually just press your AoE buttons in AoE, if you're not targeting your enemy, if you're not facing them, if you're not autoing them to generate rage, you're going to fall behind and not do as much. There's still skill and aim and whatever to the class, but why does Cleave just not fucking hit around you? It replaces Whirlwind, an ability that goes literally 360 degrees around you. Cleave hits like here-ish. So it's a pretty long cone, right? But the problem is it's a cone. So what you actually end up doing sometimes is when you're min-maxing between packs, you'll cleave, Mortal Strike, back up, and then cleave to be able to hit everything. Because if you're too close to the targets, you hit your cleave button, and you're only hitting this mob, right? You're only hitting this mob. And that is technically a skill issue, because you're not aiming at your target. But, like, why? Nobody wants to deal with this. It's not flavorful. It's not interesting. There's nothing cool about it. It's just annoying to deal with. Same thing with Demolish. Because Demolish is based on a cone, like if I actually demolish this direction, I hit everything. And you go, oh man, that's so skillful. Nah, man, it's just... Why doesn't my shit just hit around the target I select? You know? I mean, technically that does have problems where if you're fighting a really, really big mob and your Demolish spreads from the middle of the mob, but he's so fat all the enemies are like around here, you just want to hit him. So, I mean, maybe that's fine for Demolish, but like, yeah, like have Demolish be aimed, but our cleave should be AoE, right? I don't know. It's just, not only is the class bland, it's boring to play. And not only is it bland and boring to play, like you saw in the screenshot, it's not very effective in AoE either because of the target capping. I think target capping has completely failed. And one of the reasons why they need to go back against target capping is mainly because look at the designs of these dungeons, right? Look at Priory. Look how many mobs you fight at all times. You're just always fighting bunch of mobs, bunch of mobs. I mean, do they expect people to literally play this game one pack at a time? Pack of four. Pack of four. Like, no, that's not how people play these games, right? The target cap of 5 doesn't matter if you're pulling literally one pack of time in a heroic dungeon on the first week of playing the game. But when you're actually playing the video game, target cap, target cap, target cap, massive target cap, like you are legitimately harming your group. And that's it. Also, if you're playing Fury, if you're playing Arms, at least Cleave is reduced beyond 5. Fury is capped at 5. So you go into these pulls, and because you also don't really have that great of control about what you're even cleaving down as Fury, you could be in a situation where you pull this guy and the guard captain, and then the knight just lives forever because you're main targeting the guard captain, but the knight's not getting any cleave on it, so people get extra bleeds, and you just die. Like, terrible design. Literally, just honestly, all classes should just be 8 targets, reduced beyond. Is it homogenization somewhat? Yeah, but let the flavor be in the class, which we have no flavor. It's like, I don't know. It's like you're eating a saltine cracker playing Warrior. So, I just want to keep harping on target capping, but there's not really much else to say. I think it's a failed experiment. And one of the reasons why I think it's a failed experiment is because it actually negatively impacts your game and your character. And if they want to specifically design around target capping, I think that's why Season 1 was actually so bad. One of the actual difficulties and problems of Season 1, I believe, was the fact that you had to pull so many caster-type mobs or spammy-type mobs. And I think they believe that if you just pulled less of them, like they wanted you to, the target cap wouldn't matter because you just wouldn't be hitting that many mobs. But that's just not how people play this game, man. That's just not how you play this game. The target capping plus the amount of spammy mobs made Season 1 so unenjoyable. So they removed a lot of those caster spammy mobs, but now we still have all of these ads to deal with, right? So if they actually keep this target cap mentality, I think it's actually going to handicap their design, right? Are they going to build massive AoE pulls that you'd have a lot of fun in if 40% of the classes literally don't get to play the game when you do those pulls? It just doesn't make any sense, right? So I think they really need to rethink the target cap for sure. What else is there to consider about? There's a decent amount of RNG as well. Like, you look at something like Slayer. A lot of Slayer and a lot of parses that are going to happen with Slayer Warrior, Arms Warrior, is whether or not you have good sudden death RNG to keep Juggernaut up through the entire fight. If you get good enough RNG, you can literally have a 15% crit, or the 15% damage bonus on Juggernaut the whole fight, from like 80 or 90% to 0 if you have good sudden death RNG. But if you have bad sudden death RNG, you just fall off. You lose 15% execute damage, which I think they made a massive mistake absolutely gutting execute damage before this tier. It was obviously shown based on tuning that you did not even need execute damage to kill Muggsy or One-Armed Bandit. You played like spread dot cleave classes or very strong single target classes throughout the whole fight, like Windwalker Monks or Shadow Priests or Warlocks, stuff like that. The execute damage didn't even matter. And we didn't even get to play with it mattering, and because it got nerfed by 15% base before we even got to touch the raid. So the one niche Warrior had, the one thing Warrior was really going to be able to really bring to the raid, even though they can still do decent execute damage, we lost it. It's still not very valuable, and it's RNG because of how your Juggernaut stacks work. Ugh. Man, I'll be So let's go down the list, right? Let's like try and recap for myself a little because I'm kind of doing this off the cuff. No theme. Our theming is terrible. We need some kind of theme. Maybe glory, Sonic, fire, shadow flame, something, right? Some kind of theming to come back to the class, man. It is so sauceless. Warrior should have lust. I don't know why they're so scared of a tank class having lust, but if they're that scared of it, they should just give it to Arms and Fury, and Prot should just not have the access to lust. Who cares? Right? It would be weird. It would feel weird. Prot should have lust, but if they're so scared of it, then just give it to the other class. The EPS specs, whatever. We talked about target capping, which is severely impacting Fury's viability at all. Like realistic viability in how things are performing. Once again, you can look at Noxiv, but like that dude's getting gapped every single key because he's playing Fury. And it's not his fault that the class is just handicapped because of this target capping shit. Target capping is also bad because it really, or should theoretically, limit their dungeon design if they want to design around people actually playing their dungeons, right? Cleave should go back. Cleave should just be an AoE around your character. Just let Demolish be the one aimed thing you have to do. I think stuff like Earthquaker should probably be this talent here instead of Rumbling Earth. Like, just change this so Earthquaker goes here, and the Rumbling Earth, it's like it goes here, the Shockwave distance and the knock-up is here, and then you change the cooldown reduction over to Earthquaker instead, because letting other warrior specs have access to a knock-up that is undr'able is crazy good. Also, speaking of target capping, why is Intimidating Shout capped at 5 targets? Why? Unbelievably useless in keys. Has some kind of use in PvP specifically for CC windows. But why? But like, you're not fighting a gorillion enemies in fucking PvP. Like, maybe sometimes in RBGs, but then like it's not even that valuable because you're doing so much AoE anyway that you're gonna break it instantly. Like, why is Intimidating Shout capped at 5? It's been capped at 5 forever. It doesn't make any sense. If this thing just wasn't capped, you could actually use it as a decent AoE stop. You know, maybe you'd be able to take something like this instead, because you don't want stuns into stuns. Because right now you're DRing your own stuns so heavily that you can simply full DR an enemy from stuns by yourself. It's pretty lame. We talked about our capstones being bad. What else is there, man? Honestly, there's probably a lot that I wanted to talk about that I'm forgetting. I think I talked about how many throughput nodes we have in the warrior tree. We have nothing interesting. We have nothing cool. We got that talent reshuffle, but like still super lame. It's better, but it's still just lame. I don't know, man. Like, I just want my class to be more fun to play. Like I said, this has nothing to do with power. It has nothing to do with the sheer power of our class and of our abilities. It has everything to do with how it plays. Blizzard has said that they're happy with how Warrior is playing, and if this is the state our class is going to be in, I really think they need to make changes to make Cleave nicer to play with, because Warbreaker's already an AoE, you have to aim Demolish. If you ever play Dreadnought again, if it gets buffed, you have to aim Dreadnought as well. I don't know, man. I just feel that it's the problem. You know what the problem is? It's fine, right? What we're looking at right now, what we have, the specs we have, the hero talents we have, are fine. And I don't want it to be fine. I want it to be fun. Is kind of what it comes down to. I don't want to have to consider walking out of packs to be able to hit Cleave, man. I don't want to have to consider doing that in between auto attacks just to make sure that my cleave is hitting the target I'm even on top of. Like, it feels bad, man. And it's not, and some of those changes, like that cleave change where it's 360 around your character, or other changes where the target capping, stuff like that, things that will just make the class feel better to play will also just generally increase its damage through how it plays, and you don't have to necessarily tweak it. I mean, look, man, here's how sad it. Like, we talked about it. I think I showed the Dazer thing, but like, cleave is 25% of my damage, and I have talent that cleave bonus, cleave bonus, cleave bonus, cleave bonus. Technically, over the Colossal Might damage bonus through dominance of the Colossus is cleave bonus, cleave bonus, cleave bonus, cleave bonus, impale scaling cleave bonus, martial expert cleave bonus, warbreaker cleave bonus. I have all of these bonuses to cleave, which is my main AoE ability, and I'm doing about the same percentage of damage as just Imperium Hammer from Templar, from Red Paladin. It sucks, man. I really think they need to look at rebalancing where our damage comes from, how our damage works, and really give some love to the class. I mean, they've changed stuff like Warbreaker, you know, they changed how it looks, because we're like, hey man, this looks like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we using the whirlwind animation with the slam at the end for Warbreaker, right? You know, it'd be way better. Why not literally you just slam the ground? Like, where are the slams, man? Our class, big boy, big two-handed weapon. How do we have no RPG-styled slams, especially from a company like Blizzard, through all of their Diablo games, through all of their barbarian characters that have slams and totems, like some kind of interesting, like, how is Warbreaker not something you literally just, boom, you hit the ground and you shatter the ground and spikes come up, and those spikes technically rupture the enemy's armor, and that's where you get the Colossus Smash effect from in AoE? Like, way better. Instantly way better. And it gives some flavor, and it gives some sauce, and then you can look at our other abilities, like I mean, technically demolishes a slam, but like, bro, it's basically baby's first fire rack weapon. Like, man, it is just very disappointing to really, like, I like the class archetype. I like it. I want it to be good. I want it to be fun. I want it to be interesting. And one of the things I'm really struggling with the class in general is the fact that, honestly, even if they wanted to, I don't know if they have time to make great changes like these to the class. Evokers came into the tier with their old tier set being better than their new tier set at basically like a 40 eye level difference almost. Like, how does that happen? I feel like the devs don't have enough time for these things, because they decided to push this increased workload schedule on them, where they want to release expansions faster and they want to release patches faster, but they want to do all this stuff faster. But so where's all the dev time going for like the general classes and all these things happening, right? But I don't know game development. Like, I could be talking out of my ass when speaking about that, but it just seems so apparent. Like, look at this 11, like, we're getting 11.5 in 2 days. On Tuesday, we get 11.5. And we get, like, some faction thing with some recolors in Hollowfall. On the PTR, they updated Warbreaker's animation again. They're getting some class tuning. Like, if you look at the calendar, like, bro, we look at the calendar, it comes out, we don't get, where is it? Where is the, I don't know if it showed this, it might not show it on here. Because, like, what, we have to wait, like, a month for Horrific Visions, and then even longer for the Dastardly Duos thing after that? Like, bro, what's happening? Are they just not giving the devs enough time to really do what I feel like they should be doing in a game that we pay $15 a month for? I don't know. I am saddened by my class, and it doesn't necessarily, and like I said, it doesn't deal with power, right? And to be completely transparent, if my class was top DPS everywhere in Mythic Plus, I'd probably be like, yeah, wahoo! But these problems would still exist. And how the class plays, how it functions, how it feels. A lot of people that have been playing the class for a while now, especially, are just very unhappy with how it is. They're upset, they're bored. Honestly, the worst thing that you can be, some of these guys are probably reaching the point of apathy. They just stop giving a shit. They don't play the class anymore. And obviously there are other classes that need help too, right? Rogue is one of the least played specs for classes in the entire game. Like, Rogue needs some help. It needs some interest. Like, it's kind of got flavor, but the way it works, the way people don't really like playing it, like, Rogue needs help. Other classes need help. Like, Warrior needs help. Like, how do they have time? They're not gonna have time to do all of this. Man, I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff. This is very off the cuff. I thought about making some things up, but realistically, what other ideas do you guys have? Because for me, those are the main things I can think of, but it's possible I'm missing things. I'm not considering something or considering something else. And that's why it's great that there's comments and other people that can input their own ideas, right? Maybe some people are like, hey man, I like the way it is, leave it alone. Maybe some people hate that. I don't know, man. What do you guys think? Because I am still and will continue to be a diehard Warrior player, because it's just what I like, man. It's just what I like, but these are things that aren't even necessarily different for the class. I just think it needs some quality of life and just a little bit of freshness, man. A little bit of freshness, a little bit of theme. Our capstones to not be complete dog shit. I don't like Arms has paid the price of Fury having good burst AoE once in a tier. Bro, I promise you, if Fury's burst AoE stayed the way it was, they would still not be that great in keys, because Slayer doesn't have that big of defensive value. And after your burst is over, you got nothing going on. You got nothing going on after your burst is over in the Nerebar Palace tier. So when Warrior actually got into higher keys and you weren't just instantly exploding ads that if you didn't instantly explode them, they would kill you, you would really see the damage that the Warrior class does fall off really hard in higher keys, because things actually would live your burst. I could keep going in circles. I could keep complaining forever. But I don't want to necessarily complain. I just want to be like, hey man, I want something better for us, for this. So let me know what you think. I'm turning the video off now. And that's it. And there's probably things that I wish I talked about that I forgot that I might add in comments. I don't know. Okay, bye-bye.